Hi, everybody. Before start, let me say thanks to Richard Holloway that gave me this opportunity. Then I want to talk a little about me. My name is Niccolò Ferrari. I am Italian and I live in Italy. I am a scholar of the American Civil War and with the focus about the Confederate States of America since 30 years, more or less. And during this period of time, I have made some cooperation with the newspaper or association like Gettysburg Battlefield Preservation Association. I live in Verona, that probably someone of you already know because it's the town where Nicola Marshall, that was the designer of the Confederate uniform, was inspired while he was watching the Kaiserjäger that was in my town, because in that time Verona was under the Austrian Empire. I have also write some books. The last of this book is an essay about the military history of the Confederacy, and this one is in Italian language, and is a complete history of the Confederate States by the military point of view. It starts speaking about each state, its resources, its town, the railroad, and the state troops, to get a better view of the following campaigns and battles that are in the following pages. Then, before this essay, I have write three novels, historical novels. I was inspired to write a historical novel by Shelby Footy. That is because I have read Philo, is a historical novel that was very inspiring to me, because it was a good idea to help people to get near to this argument, especially here in Italy, with the less difficult than an essay. So the first novel is the story of Fort Louisiana, and is this one, and that is always in Italian, and is entitled On Train to Richmond. The second one is about the siege of Vicksburg, and this is this one, and it talk about this important event of the Civil War, and the last one is this one, and it is about the last part of the war, with the last campaign in the Carolinas and the end of the war. So now I want to start to tell you the story of the regiment of Fort in Louisiana. This regiment that I ran up since 20 years, as you can see by the stuff behind me. This regiment was raised in Jan 1861, raised up, and it was formed by many companies of New Orleans, but not only Orleans. There are companies also from the nearest of the city. At the beginning, the idea of this unit was to be a unit of all Polish people from New Orleans. but there were too few Polish in New Orleans to form a unit, so it was open to other people from other countries, and mainly was Irish, Germans that were very that was a very huge community along all the Mississippi River Valley, and of course Italian and Polish, of course. And the regiment was formed in Imite, at the north of New Orleans, when there is one of the two main drill camp of the state of Louisiana. The other one is Camp Moore. The regiment was one of the last to be formed. It was composed mainly by boatsmen, smugglers, uh, difficult people who hang around the port, rascal, unemployed due to the blockade of the Union Navy. So this gives immediately an idea of the troublesome of this unit. When it was formed, it was called 30 Louisiana Volunteer, not 14, but 30 Louisiana Volunteer. It was armed with the last weapons available in the Baton Rouge arsenal. That the reason is that the Governor Moore have given the first weapon to the first regiment that were active for duty in May and in April. And then he also sold some of the weapons to other near states. And so many weapons of the regiment were non-functional or very obsolete. And this could be a fortune for the event that I will talk about soon. We don't know what kind of uniform they wear at the beginning. There is no photographs of 14 Louisiana volunteers of the member of the regiment, except for the four commander during the war. So we don't know if they have a peculiar uniform, if some of the company had some fancy uniform or simply one. Probably they wear the so-called Camp Moore jackets, the one trimmed in black, but we are not sure about this. Amity was along an important railroad that was the New Orleans, Jackson, and Great Northern. So the regiment was embarking on the train in the middle of July to his destination, that was the Virginia front. The journey started the 16th of July, and the first step of the journey was Grand Junction, Tennessee. You know that the railroad in the south have a different gauge one from another, and this was one of the main problem for the quartermaster and for the logistic in general for the Confederate Army. So in Grand Junction, the regiment had to change train to continue his trip. Unfortunately, some of the men of the regiment was able to get on the train some liquors and alcohol. So when they arrived in Grand Junction, many of them were already drunk. And during the transfer from a train to another, one company, principally, that was the Franco Rifles, broke the ranks and start to go around the town to find a store of liquors, and the situation become quickly without control. Many men of other companies follow this bad example, and soon the regiment was all around the town. Uh, Many soldiers start to break the glasses of the stores to get the liquors, to get some stuff. The people were scary, and the civilians were also object of violence, and had to take the to find a safe place, and they go in to an hotel near the railroad, near the station. Here, the soldiers are completely out of control and out of mind. Try to siege the hotel with the people inside, try to burn it. So the situation is really dramatic. The commander of the regiment, that was the Polish Valerian Sulakowski, was a man of experience. It was in the Austrian army in Europe, when he was in Europe. Then he traveled to United States and lived in New Orleans, where he was a civilian engineer before the war. He was strictly disciplinarian, but also violent and quickly angry man. So he don't have any doubt to take his revolver, and with the other officer try to restore the order of his regiment. He go into the mob of the soldier and start to shoot to the soldier, killing three or four soldiers, and wound many others, until the officers were able to restore the order of the regiment. The situation was quite mm, quite good when the journey can start again, and the Franco rifles were disbanded. The men of this company that was the most troublesome were divided into other companies. But when the train and the regiment arrived in Knoxville, Tennessee, the situation go wrong again. Again, the soldier inside the town tried to find a store of liquors, and tried to get some robbery. They found a train with some stuff destined to General Beauregard, and stolen them. And so the colonel was again together with the soldier, tried to get the order again, and with his sword wounded many soldiers, and was able to get again the order. This time was helped also by the civilian of Knoxville, that was a town that of clear Union sympathy, like all that part of Tennessee. So the regiment had to pass a night in the camp, with scared to be assaulted by the people that was very angry. The civilian, the people of the town where the train and the regiment had to pass, already know the news of this troublesome regiment, and for the first time appeared the nickname, the bad nickname of Wildcats. So the people was prepared to receive the Wildcats, was carried, and the store were closed, and so the journey can go on, to the final destination that was Richmond, where the regiment arrived during the night between the 23 and 24 of July, so after the Battle of First Manassas. The regiment, the 13th Louisiana Volunteer, was sent to a camp near the town in the northeast part of Richmond that was on the Chimborazo Hill. Here was established a camp where many regiments from all the south were formed and prepared to go to the front. So where the regiment was here, it was officially introduced in the Confederate Army, the regular army, and in this moment is changed the number and it is was given is a name that was 14 Louisiana Infantry Regiment. So from a volunteer regiment of state to a regular regiment in the Confederate Army. In this moment, the regiment had still 9 company. He received the 10th company and was ready for duty. In this moment, the regiment was about of 1,000 men, probably something more than 1,000. The unit was assigned to the Peninsula Campaign, to the Army of the Peninsula of General Magruder, and was sent to the Warwick Line to watch the Fort Monroe on the far part of the Virginia Peninsula. Here, the regiment remained until 1862. Was sent in one occasion also in North Carolina, where the soldiers break again their ranks and found themselves again in a riot against civilians and breaking the private properties. And this time, a colonel decided to gun some soldiers to get again the order. Colonel Sulakowski was strictly disciplinarian, as said. So with the month, the regiment became one of the best drill regiment of Louisiana present in Virginia. So he has the merit to get this soldier to a high level of drill. However, at the beginning of 1862, when the Confederate Army had a reorganization, many officers were promoted, but not Sulakowski. This event was a key event for the regiment because his colonel, the Polish Sulakowski, received angry not to be promoted colonel. So in this moment, when he left from the regiment, there was another riot. The regiment go out of ranks and start to burn and broke govern and private properties all around the camp. And the situation was restored also only on after some hours of complete disorder. The new commander of the regiment was Lieutenant Colonel Richard Jones. We know little about this officer. We know that he was a veteran of the Mexican War, but we don't know his activity before the war. And so he was in command during the Peninsula Campaign when Union General McClellan started to disembark his enormous army near Fort Monroe. In April 1862, the regiment received his battle flag. He received the first mounting issue, a battle flag, that is, it is the one behind me. This is a reproduction of the flag of the regiment that was received in that moment. And now take part to all the Peninsula Campaign, and he had a key role during the Battle of Williamsburg, where Colonel Jones get a well command performance on the right wing of the Confederate Army. After the retreat and the 7 days battle, where General Johnston was wounded, the army, the Confederate Army, was commanded by General Robert E. Lee. And there was a little reorganization too. It was named Army of Northern Virginia. And in this period, Colonel Jones resigned from the command. We don't know the reasons, probably health reasons, but we are not sure about this. The new commander of the regiment was Major Zebulon York. Zebulon York was birth in Maine, so is northern by birth, and but was a planter in Louisiana. He was one in company with another planter, had one of the biggest plantation of Louisiana and of the entire South. Probably he had between 600 to 700 slaves and was a very wealthy planter. So he started his command during the 7 days battles and following the 7 days battle, there was another reorganization of the army, and all Louisiana regiment were put together in 2 brigades. The 14th Louisiana was in the 2nd Louisiana Brigade of Army of Northern Virginia, commanded by General Hayes from Louisiana, that was wounded during the 7 days campaign. So the command of the brigade was turned to Colonel Henry Forno. The regiment and the brigade took part to the Northern Virginia campaign and play a major role during the Battle of Second Manassas, where the regiment led a countercharge when the Union troops was near to break the Confederate line during one of their assaults. In this moment, Colonel York was badly wounded to the neck, and he survived the wound, but had to return to Louisiana to fully recover, and also to get some new recruits for the regiment, because during the first part of the war and the first campaign on Peninsula and North Carolina, the regiment suffered many losses, and the first invasion of the North by General Lee in Maryland, the 14th Louisiana and 2nd Brigade of Louisiana fought near the cornfield, and here the regiment suffered again many losses. In this campaign, the unit was commanded by Major David Zabel, that succeeded to York, that was promoted meanwhile lieutenant colonel, and mm, Zabel was from Algiers, that was a municipality on the west bank of Mississippi River in front of New Orleans in that time. Now is a part of New Orleans, but in that time was a municipality. We know that was a clerk before the war, that was a baseball player, and so he started commanding one of the company, and near and slowly get his career to command the regiment. He was wounded he was wounded during the Battle of Antietam. So the regiment in this moment was less than a half of his men, the men he started the war. So we are under the 500 men. In fact, during the Fredericksburg campaign, he played a minor role. He was in reserve, and he needed some months to rebuild his ranks and to refine his officer and commander. That was David Zabel again. So in 1863, the 2nd Louisiana Brigade was commanded by another Louisiana, that was Brigadier General Nichols. And during the Chancellorsville campaign, the brigade was assigned to Stonewall Jackson left wing in one of the most important battle of the Army of Northern Virginia, and that was considered one of the masterpieces of strategy of Lee and Jackson cooperation. So the regiment take part to the attack on the right flank of the Union Army of Potomac, and General Nichols was wounded in the charge, and so the regiment the brigade had to be commanded by one of the colonels of the regiment, and that was Colonel Jesse Williams. So we arrive at one of the most important campaign of the Civil War and for the Army of Northern Virginia. That was the Gettysburg Campaign. The Gettysburg Campaign, the second invasion of North by General Lee. 2nd Louisiana Brigade was in the Edward Johnson Division, Ewell Corps, 2nd Corps, and the division arrived on the battlefield of Gettysburg in the evening of 1st of July. The regiment was deployed on the west, on the east of the town, in front of a hill called Culp's Hill. Here, the regiment remained, the brigade and all the division of Edward Johnson remained until 4 p.m. of the July the 2nd. So only in that moment begin the attack coordinated with the Longstreet Corps in the south part of Gettysburg, and the regiment was engaged on the Culp's Hill. Here the regiment was around 300 men, so very few respect to the initial 100. And the regiment fight very hard. All the regiment of Louisiana fight very hard on Culp's Hill. They charge many times, but finally on the morning of July the 3rd, the Union troops received reinforcements, were reinforced and counterattack the Confederate troops that had to retreat. During the retreat, the regiment broke due to the enemy pressure, and many men were captured. Among the prisoners, there was also the sergeant that carried the flag behind me. But the flag don't be captured by the Union troops because the sergeant put the flag inside his jacket to preserve it and take care of the flag for all his prisoner until it was exchanged in 1864. So the flag don't have the never be in enemy hands. As you can imagine, the regiment during the last campaign of 1863, the Bristol and Myra campaign, was a skeleton of itself. He suffered many losses, wounded, and so with 1864 was first consolidated with the 1st Louisiana Infantry Regiment. But when we arrive at the Overland Campaign or Wilderness Campaign, all the Louisiana Regiment was consolidated together in a single brigade that was commanded by Zebulon York, that for the occasion was fully recovered and was soon promoted Brigadier General. He led the brigade for all the Overland Campaign, the bloodiest campaign probably in northern Virginia. And then he followed the Second Corps in Shenandoah Valley with General Jabal Early. And here the regiment stayed together with the Army of the Valley of General Early and take part to the campaign against Washington, D.C. and try to relieve the pressure of the Army of Potomac around Petersburg and Richmond. The General York and the regiment, and so all the Louisiana Brigade, fight also in the Battle of Third Winchester, where General York was wounded again, and this time he lost an arm. So he had to leave the command, and soon, at the end of the year, near October, at the Battle of Cedar Creek, after the defeat of Cedar Creek, the Second Corps came back to the Army of Northern Virginia around Petersburg and Richmond. So in this moment, the regiment was deployed in the trench around Petersburg, and he take part to the charge against Fort Stedman, and then he had to wait until the end of the siege that unfortunately for the Southern Army ended with the broke of the Potomac Army in April 1865. The Louisiana regiments and the Brigade of Louisiana follow the remain of the Army of Northern Virginia in his retreat to Danville, where the Confederate government had established a new capital. Arrived in Appomattox, Army of Northern Virginia had to stop and to surrender to the Union Army, and at the honor of the army, Fort Louisiana had only 25 men and 2 officers. So from the beginning of the war, that was 1,000 men, the regiment had suffered so many killed and wounded. The story of the regiment is not end with the end of the war, because, as I said, the flag was give to the regiment when the sergeant was exchanged in 1864. And the Colonel Zabel give the flag to a woman that bring the flag to New Orleans. And so after the war, is said that was the last flag that President Jefferson David touched when he was in New Orleans before he died. And probably it was on his coffin during the funeral. But the story is not finished. The story of this flag is not finished because it was conserved in the Confederate Memorial Hall of New Orleans. That was a museum that was founded, among others, by the Colonel David Zabel, who was one of the founder of this institution. Zabel was very active after the war to help veterans and to carry on the memory of his regiment and the Southern troops. Here in 1985, the flag was stolen. And was refound only in 2011 by the FBI. Now the flag is again at the Confederate Memorial Hall, restored, and people can see it in all the glory. So this is the short story of this regiment that I would like to call my regiment, because since 20 years I reenact the 40 Louisiana since 2005, and as you can see, I have the honor to get some contact with the descendant of Colonel of General York and Colonel Zabel, and so I have dedicated many of my years to research this regiment. That when I start to reenact and to study this unit was very little known. Louisiana was known for the tigers, for the waves that have their colorful uniform, but probably the 40 Louisiana was one of the peculiar regiments of the Louisiana troops, and so I would like to think that I have given a contribution to preserve the memory of this regiment. The most important, the main sources of research of this regiment were books and memories, also cemetery cemeterial database were quite important, but I found some memory of soldiers in I Meet New Digest. Another important book was Louisianians in the Civil War, and Lee's Tigers, that give a complete history of a Louisiana regiment during the Civil War. There are also some line in the portraits of the conflict, a photographic history of Louisiana in the Civil War. And also there is the diary of the chaplain of the regiment, that was the Catholic priest, James Sheeran. that was an Irish-born churchman. And about the flag, we can find some information on the damned red flags of the rebellion, the Confederate battle flag at Gettysburg. I was in Gettysburg in 2013. I attended the event, the reenactment, with other of my comrade, and I have the fortune to get in uniform on the Cemetery Ridge, but also on the Calps Hill. I was together with my friend and my comrade on the same trial that the soldiers of Fort Louisiana did in that unfortunately summer of 1863. So that was a very great honor for me. Now I have ended my life. Hope to get you some nice information, some curious information, and I give you a salute from Italy and greetings to all, and hope we can have other occasion to talk about this regiment and the history of Louisiana and the Confederacy. Thank you, and bye bye.